as the drivers come round in the formation lap. You can see they're racing, and away we go. And Wesley Orr immediately taking an advantage on the inside line. Arnold Neveling getting a good start. Very easy to identify Wesley Orr in the CRG colours. Arnold Neveling, of course, in the yellow racing overalls, moving to the right-hand side of the track, trying to get past Tom Pavlovskis. Don't think that happened on that particular occasion, but Arnold Neveling immediately putting pressure on the driver in front of him, and everybody going through the first 2 laps properly. Here comes the world champion, kart number 615, Wesley Orr. Well, I've said several times in commentary the distinctive driving style of Wesley Orr. It's very businesslike, isn't it? Very determined, almost. If I use the word aggressive, that might give the wrong connotation. I don't mean aggressive in terms of aggressive against other drivers, but I mean aggressive with the kart and attacking the circuit. Here he is, and Arnold Neveling, the other South African teenager, immediately behind him. Ben George in 3rd place, Tom Pavlovskis again starting on the outside of the front row is not seen to be an advantage very frequently. A little bit unfortunate there for Tom Pavlovskis. Good to see a driver from Monaco in the top 10, Alexander Winkler. Well, I mentioned Denis Ladbruged having a misfortune to have to start on the back, but he's already made up a couple of places on Yannick Olivo and Manolis Samariadakis. In fact, he's made a few more, hasn't he? Because Panagiotis Vokaridis has also been passed. Well, it's a 22-lap race, the final of the DD2s. Here comes the world champion Wesley Orr, leading Arnold Neveling. Ben George is in 3rd, Tom Pavlovskis 4th, Peter Scaples 5th, Mike Barton, only 15 years of age, the youngest driver in this class. Mike Barton running 6th in kart number 629, 7th is Andreas Mattis, 8th Alexander Winkler, 9th Karsten Müller, and completing the top 10, the Hungarian number 1, which is Jerry Hargitay, 616 here. Oh, and leaving the circuit and just moving back onto the tarmac. One of the drivers towards the back of the grid losing places as a result of that. I think we got a brief view of Vaskaligis, the series photographer, just there. Well, Wesley Orr already establishing a place in the front of the field. Arnold Neveling 0.9 of a second behind him as we go at the end of the 3rd lap. In fact, that's, yes, 0.935 of a second. So Wesley Orr leading Arnold Neveling, Ben George 3rd, Tom Pavlovskis 4th, Peter Scaples 5th, and Mike Barton 6th. Just looking a bit further down the field, Denis Ladbruged in kart number 617 already moved from 20th position up to 14th. The Danish driver going well. Ben George for Team V. You see the V on the back of his racing overalls. The V, Team V. The full Team V, of course, as well as Ben George, is the brother and sister team of Laura and Dominic Kryhammer, and also Daniel Schellinger in the juniors. Wesley Orr then leading from Arnold Neveling and Tom Pavlovskis. Ben George being relegated into 4th place when earlier on in the meeting he looked to be easily the 3rd best after the 2 flying South African teenagers. Wesley Orr and Arnold Neveling. Jerry Hargitay drops a place from 10th to 11th. It's the Greek driver Miltos Kirkos who's gone through him. And a driver leaving the circuit I'm seeing on the screen. Don't see that on the track, but it wasn't one of the front runners. Kart number 621, Ben George, you see coming under the close scrutiny of Peter Scaples, kart number 632, and that was 612. Oh, that's such a shame. Miltos Kirkos, the 21-year-old Greek driver, driving out of the Hockhauser awning, gone all wrong for him. Very good young driver, very popular with the rest of his compatriots in the Greek team from Athens, but sadly 3 years karting, but no further karting in this particular race. Well, the 2 South Africans are rattling away, aren't they? Use that expression. Arnold Neveling in view now, chasing after Wesley Orr. These 2 have dominated the class. It's uncanny how this class is dominated by South Africans, because this time last year it was Cristiano Magado from South Africa who was winning everything. This time, well, it's not quite a clean sweep by Wesley Orr, but it's looking a bit that way. The only threat coming from Arnold Neveling. Arnold Neveling a couple of years younger than Wesley Orr, so he's got plenty to learn, and one of the things that Arnold has said, look, I don't like being beaten, but if I'm beaten by Wesley and I'm following him, I'm learning all the time. So 625 learning from 615, and again see that style of Wesley Orr, the way that he drives. Now, Arnold Neveling, much more static in the kart. I'm not suggesting he's not driving forcefully, he is. But when you see the body language there, almost as if he's sitting holding a newspaper. But when you see Wesley Orr, the race leader, his arms across the kart are much more active, much more vigorous. Ben George also a little bit more movement. Peter Scafels, 632, a little bit more relaxed. Again, you saw a lovely shot of the Team V there. In fact, the Team V is almost the target for Peter Scafels. V on the back of Ben George. There you see it again. And Peter Scafels saying, hey, I'd like not to see that V. I'd like to be in front of you. Ben George from Tasmania in Australia, but now living in Austria and driving in Europe. Peter Scafels, one of the Combi Kart drivers. Kart number 632 is an entrant of the Combi Kart Holland team, and I've said several times in commentary this weekend, I've really been impressed with him. I think this meeting's the best I've seen Peter Scafels driving. He's running 5th at the moment, as you can see. I mentioned Jerry Hargitay in the top 10, then out of the top 10. Well, Jerry Hargitay back in the top 10, the Hungarian number 1, running in 9th position. He's just behind the Monaco driver, which is Alexander Winkler. Manolis Samiradakis is 13th, a former world number 3, but not on form at the moment. Dennis Ladfoged moving forward into 12th place. Now, is Arnold Neveling a little bit closer to Wesley Orr? The answer is, according to the timings, yes he is. Just 0.743 when it was more than that previously. Wesley Orr's fastest lap is 43.47. Arnold Neveling's fastest lap is 43.63. So overall, Wesley has produced the quicker time than Arnold, but again we see, well actually I was going to say the foreshortened view on television, but there's a good shot on your television screens illustrating, if you like, the distance between the two drivers. But even so, it's decreasing marginally. Yes, there is the timing splits. It was 0.91, then 0.74, and now 0.717. So Arnold Neveling just eating in little bit by little bit into Wesley Orr's lead. There are 13 laps remaining in this 22-lap race, so a long way still to go. Bas Kalig is in shot there, the series photographer, very much part of the karting scene in Europe, based in Holland of course, but travels all over the world. This man also travels all over the world. 615 Wesley Orr and 625 Arnold Neveling. 615 there, Wesley Orr. Now again, you see his driving style now, not nearly so aggressive as it was in the early part of the race, when Wesley is trying to manoeuvre himself to the front, a lot of aggression in the arms and the upper body. Now with a little bit of a cushion, it's a much more settled and relaxed driving style, and Arnold Neveling just soaring at the wheel a little bit more than he has been doing previously, but both of them nice and relaxed in the karts. And Wesley just clipping the curve, as does Arnold Neveling. Here in 3rd place is Toms Bobrovskis. Well, clips the curve just a little bit harder, I think. Ben George going through, Peter Scafels. Mike Barton still running 6th. Andreas Mattis still running 7th. Alex Winkler 8th. Best I've seen Alex Winkler in a final in Rotax. 9th, Jerry Hargitay, and 10th, Lothar Vinzen. Well, if Lothar Vinzen was to finish in the top 10, Lothar from Switzerland, he would be delighted. Kart number 632 in shot was Peter Scafels. Peter Scafels putting serious pressure on Ben George, that V in the back of the racing overalls. We're at halfway race distance, 11 laps gone, 11 to go in the DD2 Grand Final. And remember, DD2 is unique. DD, direct drive, 2 speed.